Run streaks, what do we think? The ultimate act of self-discipline, determination and motivation, or idiots on a ticking time bomb waiting to get injured? Well, in this video today, I'm going to talk about my experience as somebody that's now on day 110 of running every day, some of the findings and lessons as part of that, and some of the things that you might want to consider if you're thinking about doing a run streak yourself. But before we do that, if you don't know me, my name is Jody, and I'm 3 years into a fitness journey and life transformation after a health scare that saw me looking like that to currently looking like this. So what's the official determination of somebody that's on a run streak? Well, there is actually an organisation, an affiliation, that set the standard of what a run streak should look like, and I was surprised to hear that actually, but there seems to be an association and regulation for everything. So I'll put a link up to the people that supposedly manage this stuff. But anyway, the recognition is somebody that runs every single day for at least 1 mile or 1.62 kilometers. Doesn't matter how fast you do it, doesn't matter what time of day you do it, and it doesn't matter if you do 1 mile, 5 miles, 10 miles or 26 miles a day. You have to do that minimum of 1 mile. There's also no minimum for the amount of days you have to do on your run streak. That's completely up to you. But I guess the only thing that it has to be is more than 1 day, otherwise it's not a streak. And you hear people that are thousands of days into their run streak, and you hear people that their goal is actually only to do 1 or 2 weeks. And it doesn't matter, because that's all personal, and the reasons for doing it are individual to us all. But I'm going to talk about my experience, about why I'm doing it, about what I set out to achieve when actually starting up this run streak, and how I got started with it all. So let's get running, run a little bit of B-roll now, and then we'll start talking about some things that you should think about, why you might want to do a run streak, and some of the things that you'll need to take into consideration if you're going to keep that run streak going. Okay, the first thing to know is you can't go into a run streak if you're not somebody that regularly runs already, or at least it's not a good idea. If you run every day and you're not giving your body adequate rest, then your chances of injury significantly increase. I already ran 4 or 5 times a week already, so upping my routine to 7 days a week and running every day, albeit a challenge, wasn't actually so drastically different to what I already did. So if you're considering a run journey that includes a run streak, then I would say be realistic and gradually build up to a run streak. Don't go from running no times or 1 or 2 times a week to 7, because almost certainly you're going to get injured. Okay, so probably one of the most important things as part of your injury prevention on a run streak is to lose your Strava ego. So many people are so concerned about how people will perceive running slow on social media sites, including Strava. And I think Strava is, without a shadow of doubt, the most positive social media you've got, especially for people on fitness journeys. But see, people seem to think that other people are going to care if they're perceived as running slowly. But it's absolutely critical on a run streak that you drop that ego, because on a run streak you no longer have rest days. So you have to incorporate running very slowly into your routine. So for me, today is one of those days, and I'm doing about 9:15 to 9:30 miles today, and I think we're going to do probably about 5 miles, something like that. But you must drop the ego. And I will say, as somebody that has struggled with, mindset, and a lot of the reasons I set this channel up is that nobody cares about how quickly you run or how slowly you run. As a runner and somebody that puts in the effort, you're already in a very small percentage of the world that make the effort to get outside and run. So you're already considered to be the elite already. So you don't have to worry about people worrying about your time. So drop that ego and learn to run slow. And the second point is that you need to plan for a run streak, because life happens. Family commitments, work commitments, and injuries get in the way. So you need to make a plan if you want to go on a run streak. And for me, a lot of the reason why I make the effort to get up at 5 a.m. or 5:30 every day and to come out running every single day is that I know that I've created essentially another 2-hour window for myself every day where I can work on myself and get the day started with a run. And I know it sounds probably a little bit airy-fairy, but the difference in your mindset and what you think you can achieve if you've started the day before anybody else in the world, pretty much, at least in the country you're living in, has even woken up, is extraordinary. It does so many good things and positive impact on your mindset that just everything else in the rest of the day is going to feel way easier. I love the quote that says that if you've run in the morning, everything else that you encounter for the rest of the day is pretty much tea and biscuits or tea and cake, because in comparison, you've already done something hard, you've already started your day and achieved something, and that is so empowering. But planning your time and planning your day is going to be super important. I would advise that you think about doing that in the mornings if you've got time, or if your schedule, family commitments, work commitments allow, because the only real important thing, if you are doing a run streak and you care about continuing it, if you set your goal to do it in the morning and for whatever reason you can't do it in the morning, you've still got the rest of the day to do it. So get it done in the mornings if you can, but if not, just make sure you get it done in that 24 hours. And the mental health benefits, the fitness benefits, the self-image benefits are all going to improve, because you'll know that you are not only doing something that is to the rest of the world quite hard in running, you're actually doing something even harder, which is running every day. So if you're going to do that, and if you want to be somebody that's doing a streak, especially a long-term one, then make sure you plan, make sure you take into account any travel, and take into account any plans that might disrupt that run streak if you want to keep it going. Okay, so the next point, and this is my favourite, is excuses. You'll be surprised about your ability to look past excuses when you're on a run streak, because no longer does the fact that you feel tired, or no longer does the fact that you've got that little tiny niggle in your knee or whatever, or your back hurts or whatever it is, there is a kind of balance that you make in your head which says, is this injury bad enough to ruin or stop my run streak? And the excuses that you used to make in order to get out of doing something like running no longer become relevant. It doesn't matter. Now, I'm not suggesting that if you've broken your leg or you've got a severe and real injury that you should keep running. Absolutely you shouldn't. But those little excuses that we've all made in the past that give ourselves an out about why we shouldn't do something. Oh, I've had a tough week. Oh, I didn't sleep well. Oh, work's busy at the moment. All of those things pale into insignificance if it means that your, kind of 60, 90, 120 day run streak will come to an end, because the psychological damage is probably not the right word, but the psychological kind of impact that you'll have where you go, I let my, kind of 50, 60, 70 day run streak come to an end because essentially I couldn't be bothered, I was too lazy. You just won't do it anymore. You won't let yourself think like that. So excuses that you used to make will no longer be excuses. And the great thing is that mindset, you'll carry that over to other things, because it's all about establishing a new mind, a new mindset of how you're going to live your life. And if you, as I said, can incorporate into your day something as challenging as a run streak, especially a long-term one, then it will carry over, and you'll find that, not getting to that task, not doing that bit of house job, or not doing that activity at work, whatever that is, you'll just get it done, because you know that once you've got it done, it'll feel great. And not only will it feel great, but there'll be another thing in your day that you can tick off as something you've achieved. And the impact on that and the way it make you feel is huge. Another really important thing to consider here is sleep. Sleep is when your body does all of its recovery. And a run streak is asking a lot of your body. To do something high impact like running every single day is tough on your body. So you need to give your body not only rest days that we mentioned earlier, or active rest days where you run slow, but you also need to give your chance to your body to do its recovery and repair, which your body does when you're asleep. I used to be somebody that thought that 5 or 6 hours of sleep was enough for me, but it really isn't. You need to be targeting, and this is fairly individual, but as an average across the board, somewhere between 7 and 8 hours of sleep. And where you can, try and put yourself in a sleeping environment, a cool room with a window open, and hopefully as least distractions as possible, which as a parent to 3 young boys, I know it's not easy, but cut down the distractions, try not to have too much liquid before bed so that you don't have to do what we, especially in our 40s and upwards, have to do, which is get up for going to the toilet every few hours if we have too many drinks. Try and cut those distractions down, because that recovery time is so important for your body. And if you don't give yourself adequate sleep time, then 100%, if you are doing high volumes of running, high miles, and especially if you're running every day, then I think you'll be very lucky to not get injured if you're not getting enough sleep. So prioritise sleep, and again, that takes planning. And if you can create consistency in your sleep schedule and try to go to bed within half an hour of the same time consistently, then what you'll find is your circadian rhythm will start to wake you up at the same time, even without your alarm, and your body will feel much more refreshed. But there's a few influencing factors there, which we'll talk about next. Okay, so your chances of getting restorative and quality sleep is going to improve if you watch your diet and you limit or even cut out alcohol out of your life. Now, I'm not going to try and convince anybody to give up drinking alcohol, because that's a personal choice. But those of you that have followed my journey will know, because I put out a video a few months ago, that I am almost at 1,000 days of being alcohol free and cutting alcohol out of my life. And the benefits have been enormous in all aspects of my life. You know, family, work, health, And quality of sleep drastically improves if you don't consume alcohol and you only try to put quality food into your body. And I personally have made a lot of changes in both of those areas, and where possible consume as much raw food as possible. When I say raw, I'm talking about things like avocados and fruit, and I limit the amount of meat that I eat these days. And that's an interesting topic. Maybe I'll talk about that one day, around people's perceptions of getting enough protein if you don't eat enormous amounts of meat, because there's a lot of myths and misconceptions around that. But I limit the amount of meat I eat and eat almost no red meat actually these days, and instead supplement that with some alternatives, corns and legumes and beans and all sorts of different options that, if you are, kind of not educated in that area, it may seem that you're not going to get adequate levels of things like your macronutrients and proteins, but believe me, you can. And the impact, again, on your energy levels and everything is going to be enormously kind of impacted by the quality of food you put in. And it's just like anything, right? If you put something good in, then generally you're going to get something good out. And that really does, equate to what you put into your body is what you're going to get out of your body. And your body can achieve huge things if you just fuel it and look after it in the right ways. So think about the food that you're having. Think about the amount of alcohol that you are consuming. And if you're doing it right, then that's only going to help. If you're planning to go on a long-term run streak, because you're giving your body the right nutrients, you're giving it the right amount of time to repair itself. And the sleep, the diet, and the limitations on, toxins that you put in your body are going to really help your chances of continuing a run streak, again, without getting injured. Not to mention the mindset shift. Everyone knows that if you've been out on the lash the night before, the very last thing you want to do, for most people, is to get up and go for a 5-mile run the next morning. So limiting those things is going to have an enormous and drastic impact on your ability to sustain a run streak for the long term. So my last point, I'm sure there's more, and if I've missed anything, then do me a favour, drop your thoughts in the comments. If you're on a run streak, let me know how many days in you are, and if you're happy to, share with me your socials and I'll follow you and get motivation from, and try and hopefully motivate you to keep going. So drop me either a message or a note in the comments and I'll connect in with you. But the last point here, and this is especially relevant for us folk that are above 30, is the importance of stretching. Your body will not be able to handle, especially if you are, over 30 years old, but as a good practice for anything really, is the importance of warming up and then having a quality warm down and stretch after your run. Now, I used to be somebody that didn't prioritise this, and I'm sure if most people are honest, they also don't prioritise it either, because it's just one of those things that you don't do. So at the end of my routine, and when I stop running in a minute, what I'll always do is do a lap around the close that I live in, just to get another sort of 500 to 1,000 walking steps into my legs, and then I'll go in and I'll do a warm down. And the amazing impact, actually I'm going to add one additional benefit to doing a run streak that I just thought of, but it's because when I get in, I do a warm down, and my sons often come and join me for that warm down and try and recreate some of the stretches that I'm doing, and it's a fantastic thing to see and to know that I'm influencing them in that way. Which brings me on to the bonus additional benefit, which is, and this is, you know, irrespective really if you've got a family or friends or circle of people that you're close to, is you doing a run streak and you setting high standards for yourself. That's what people see. You will be a shining light of inspiration for other people to set higher standards for themselves. And one of the huge reasons I quit alcohol almost 3 years ago was, there was loads of reasons, health, whatever, self-esteem, imposter syndrome, some of the things I've talked about on this channel. But most importantly was to set a good example for my children and for them to remember me as somebody that set himself super high standards for himself and run every single morning. And you know, I get up before the kids wake up. We have a routine where I knock the door in a certain way with a certain number of knocks so that they know it's me, and they all run to the door to greet me when I get back from my run. And that's the experience that they're going to have of their dad, is somebody that, you know, gets out there, starts the day right. And I always come in and make a bit of a fuss of them because I want to inspire them. And already my eldest son Oscar, he started to ask about whether, you know, he can come on some short runs with me, and when he's a bit older that he can run some distance with me. And as a father, or in your circumstance maybe as a close friend to somebody that you want to inspire to kind of take care of themselves better, then a run streak or any running or anything you can do that requires high levels of discipline and a long-term gratification mindset is going to rub off on them. So for me, family influence and influencing your family or friends or circle of influence is hugely important. Anyway, there are some of the things that I think that you should consider if you're going to do a run streak. The benefits to mental health are enormous. You know, if you're someone that suffers from anxiety or suffers from any kind of mental health challenges, then what I can say is, you know, running is so good for that. So good for having a clear mindset, and so good for giving yourself a bit of time where you can think. It requires hard work, it requires a lot of discipline, and it will be hard at first. In another one of my previous videos I talked about that there is a period of time where when you start running it just feels hard, and all you can think about is how much your heart hurts, how much that you just want to stop and finish. If you can get through that, if you can push through the barriers and you're capable, all humans are only limited by their minds. And once you can get past that barrier and you can get to the point where your body can just use that time to, whether it be plan for the day ahead, process some information, think about some of the things that are on your mind, and that you can do that in your own space as a runner, then the positive impact on your mindset is going to be enormous. But I'm going to leave it there. I think that's probably enough points, and probably the video is long enough already. Now, I'm not going to be somebody that ever, kind of begs for subscribers or asks people to subscribe to the channel, because subscribing to the channel is totally personal choice. But what I will say, only because I'm so keen for running on the mind, this channel, and the reasons that it exists to reach a wider audience, every so often, like today, I'm going to ask you that if you haven't already subscribed and you've watched this video or any other video and you found the content interesting and I'm not too annoying, then if you wouldn't mind subscribing and giving the video a little thumbs up like, hopefully it won't take too much time out of your day and it will have a very positive impact on what I'm trying to do with this channel. But I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to say thank you for your time, and I'm off to Zante tomorrow to a wedding which I'm looking forward to, and hopefully I'll get a chance to do a little running vlog while I'm out there so that you guys can see the sun in the background of my videos instead of clouds. Okay, so very quickly I've got to show you this. It's the end of my run, and I didn't think I'd ever see her again, but the close that I live in has a resident peacock or peahen in it, and she's just here. So I'm just going to quickly show you this as a little extra for the video. Where are you? There she is. How random is that? Anyway, have a good week, people. See you again soon.